What up, and welcome to A2thaShow, episode 16. Old enough to drive, even though kids these days don't be driving. So that's a thing. But when I was a kid, couldn't wait. And you know what? Impromptu stories, how I started off. This is how I got my driver. I remember quite a bit from it, obviously. Decent memory. Somehow the pot did not destroy it all. When I was 15 and a half, I went to take the written test with my friend Dew. His mom, my mom, both of us rode in his mom's Suburban to it was 30 minutes away to the nearest place you would take the test. And we each took the written test. I think we both passed it. I mean, I know I passed it. I'm pretty sure Dew passed it as well that day. I mean, it's hard to really remember, but I remember that. I remember a question I got wrong because I still argue it to this day. I argued with the motherfucker there, and then everyone was like, quit fucking arguing, you passed. But I mean, it just made me so mad. It said, if it is nighttime and you see one headlight coming at you down the road, that's all you can see, how should you handle the situation? And one of it, like the correct answer was get all the way to the right side of the road. But one of the options was treat it as you would a motorcycle, because how the fuck would you know? If you just saw one headlight, how do you know there's a fucking broken headlight? Like, you see one, that's a fucking motorcycle. I don't know. Like, to me, I felt like either answer should have been correct. Also, why the fuck do you got to get over? Just because I don't know. I remember that fucking question really pissed me off that I missed it. I remember Dew's mom yelling in the car about different shit. That's why I'm like, I can't remember I feel like it was on the way there. Like, us being dumb teenage boys were arguing about something, and our moms were like, no, listen, you dumb fucks. We know, we've been driving. We're like, whatever, And then I remember going and taking my driving test once I was 16. And a thing about Duncan, Oklahoma's driving school, or I don't know, it was this little ass building you went and took your test at or whatever. But no one passed their first time. Many of our friends, or my friends, I should say, had to take it 2 or 3 times, the driving test. Like, the guy just would not pass you the first time. He was an old hypo, and he just fucking hated passing people the first time. And so I made a 73 my first time, and he has to have a 75 to pass. And I think he like knocked me down for going too slow over the railroad tracks. And I remember thinking, my thinking process then, in the town I live in, all the railroad tracks are like up on a hill. So you like have to slow down to go over it. So maybe I just assumed you slow down. And he's like, yep, slow down too much. Which I was like, all right, that's crazy. And then, like on a ride on red, I didn't ride on red fast enough. Like, I could have went a little quicker before I ride it on red. Like, it was like really weird small things. And then the next time, okay, I guess a small part of this, he normally puts a staple in your permit. Like, he staples it after each time you take it. And he was out of staples the day I was there. And he told me, he said, make sure you tell me it's your second time next time. And I was like, okay. And then so the next time I told him, I was like, it's my second time. He's like, are you sure there's no staple? I was like, you're out of staples? And I explained the whole situation. He was like, oh, okay. And then I passed with like, 90 something or whatever. Like, he just didn't want to pass you. But anyway, best day of my life, one of them was getting my fucking license. I mean, that was freedom. That was, maybe I convinced some lady after church to go ride around in my car in a back alley or whatever. Like, that was the dream. And the idea of these kids aren't wanting these licenses are crazy. I knew one girl. There was one girl in my class who, she took driver's ed and she was immediately like, I don't want to do this. I'm assuming now as an adult she eventually got around to it. But yeah, I only knew one person my whole high school who like did not want to drive. Everyone else was like, can't wait. So just another weird thing. These soft fucking millennials were nothing. I'm hard. I'm right in the middle of the millennials, and we fucking suck. So I really can't hate. It's just the differences. We just notice differences between the generations. Anyway, a lot of stuff happened last week. One of my favorite episodes was Skinny. Go back and watch it if you missed it somehow. I think we have another music episode coming up soon, maybe in a couple days, maybe next week. I'm not exactly sure, but we have plans for that. And yeah, Skinny's always a good time. I feel like I'm going to be recovering a bunch of shit I covered on that because, when you have a guest and you kind of just ride the wave of how the conversation goes, you might not get to get a certain points or you can forget stuff or whatever. Also, I'm about a week ahead on recording these, which I don't like to be that far ahead, but I have a plan. I feel like I'm going to see go to my hometown soon to see my parents and grandparents. So I got a little ahead to be on the safe side. And now I feel like every time people are hearing this, like you're hearing me, like a week behind on the news and shit. So I'm trying to catch up. Hopefully entertaining. We will see. The Charlie Kirk saga continues, though. I was not expecting Skinny's take last week. That was all. I was like, oh, shit. So, that was me just really in the moment learning how Skinny felt about it. So, again, go back and listen to that if you care. And, Candace Owens, she gets in my TikTok algorithm because it's so captivating. She's really got the scandalous sort of, video, like you can't quit watching sort of videos. And her take on Charlie Kirk, I think, is the most interesting, that like someone assassinated him and the story's not true. And a lot of people are saying this, the FBI or the police department, whoever it was, put out the text message statement. So I guess to catch people up, if somehow you're under a fucking rock, this guy shot Charlie Kirk, this conservative political pundit, or I guess that's what I don't know what the fuck he is, but whatever, motivational speaker, college debater. He had a lot of fans. His memorial, I think, was today or yesterday for me recording this. And, huge turnout. Like I said, I didn't realize he was as popular as trying to be. But, there's just, all this interesting stuff. Like the official narrative is a shooter was on the roof. He shot Charlie Kirk from 200 yards out with a 30-06. Some certain type of old ass sniper rifle that it was his grandfather's or whatever. And then there's this video footage where some people are thinking parts of it's AI because if everything kind of dithers a certain way and it's like, no, this is AI right here and there's no shadows and where'd the gun go to? The gun's disappeared. I don't know. I mean, I find it all interesting, but I'm saying I'm just a normal guy. I don't fucking know what, I'm not putting my eggs in one basket or not, but I will say like the official story they give seems bullshit. So they'll be like, this guy originally he lived with his parents, but then another story, it's like, no, he actually lives with his trans girlfriend. And then after he does the shooting, he like has a text conversation with his trans girlfriend, just laying out all the evidence, and it's all cop speak. So like, I think that's what's very important about it. Like, it just seems fake. It seems like the cops are like, let's just pretend we're him writing this thing out. I think that's dumb too, but it's rather all cop speak, or the alternative is this guy's trying to like keep a second person out of trouble. And so he's like sending this as like blame all the evidence on me. Either way, it's weird. So it's like, cops are still looking at the drop point. I forgot to wipe. I left no evidence except for the gun with my fingerprint. Like he's saying all this weird shit. I'm sure I'll find, if I can, the transcript and it'll be up here and people might be able to read it if you're watching. But it's all weird. When I first heard him talk about it, I wasn't going that deep, but my first thought, because I watched it while I was at work on like a TikTok live or whatever, where someone was showing the news. And I was like, it just doesn't read like a 19-year-old or however old he is. They don't use that many words, like it's reading like a fucking, it just doesn't read like that. It doesn't read like a text message exchange. And then they're like, oh, actually, he was on Discord. And then there's some rumor that the Discord server they claim he was on is the same one the Trump shooter was on. And then you start thinking, well, like, fuck, we know more about this kid in like a week than we still know of the Trump shooter, and that's weird. And then there's also this Kash Patel shit. So Kash Patel's been like the worst of the like. So like for me, I'm interested in the conspiracy theories. I vote third party. I'm a rebel. I'm cool like that. Watch them, some podcasts. I don't really buy into the conspiracies probably as deep as I could. I just like find them entertaining. But Kash Patel used to go on these podcasts and he used to talk all this shit of like, they're hiding the Epstein stuff. And when I'm FBI director, I'd let it all, he'd do all these things. And then he's there and he ain't doing shit about fucking Epstein, but he had a weird phrase to Charlie Kirk where he was like, I'll see you in Valhalla, brother. Like after Charlie Kirk's dead. And he's like, rest in peace. I'll see you in Valhalla. And then people are like, well, that's weird because he's like a Hindu and Charlie Kirk's a Christian and neither one of them believe in the Viking afterlife of Valhalla. And then I guess there's a I can't remember what department it is, but some intelligence agency base off of New Zealand called Valhalla. So now people are like, Charlie Kirk's actually still alive in Valhalla. That's why his parents and siblings weren't at the funeral memorials. So it just is going to get deeper. It's almost, my conspiracy would be like, yeah, they faked it just so that all of the fun conspiracy crazies focus on this instead of the Epstein stuff. I guess that would be like if I had to choose a lane of why, but that seems crazy too. And Trump's also said some crazy shit like, they're trying to like bring hate speech laws into it, which is so funny to hear the conservatives for years and years be like free speech, and then as soon as they're in power, they're like, and we're going to enact laws that outlaws hate speech. Where, in my opinion, hate speech is free speech. Free speech is fucking everything. I don't understand what's hard about that to understand. And if free speech is only for things you like, it just doesn't. You wouldn't need the fucking rule. I don't know. It has to be for things you don't like. I understand some forefather said that a better way. But that's my modern take. But yeah, Trump was saying shit like, they were like, Charlie Kirk didn't believe in hate speech. He actually spoke against it. And he's like, well, I bet he's thinking differently now. And then you're like, well, that's kind of disrespect. Like, he has said so many disrespectful kind of toned things. Like, someone asked him a question in an interview and he's like, well, actually, we just renovated the White House. Like, he just kind of disregarded it and started talking about something else. So something about that's odd how like people aren't calling that out like they did Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, I've talked about on here, he got suspended for like a week. People act like he's going to get suspended for ever, like he lost his show over it. And then sort of conservative sides were very celebratory, like, yeah, he fucking sucks. And you can go back to my old podcast. I used to have this thing where I just list like 5 things I hate every how many episodes. Jimmy Kimmel is one. I've just always thought he's overrated as a comedian. But I don't think you deserve to lose a show because you make a joke and then one side's like demanding it. I think the Colbert thing was different because came out the show was losing millions and millions of dollars a year, and then and then CBS was just bought by another company, so they're looking at the books. It makes sense. Whereas in this was definitely like he made this one comment, let's get him off the air. And it's very funny coming from people that again were like all against cancel culture, and you making a joke shouldn't get you canceled. But when it's like their turn to be in charge, all that goes out the window. So yeah, I don't know. Party of free speech, which I found attractive about it. A few years ago, I was like, hey, at least they're, let people talk or whatever. But I feel like they're turning the corner, and then that leads to the liberal side being like, see, they're Nazis, and then they're going to compare them all to Nazis, which is like, I don't fucking know if it's all quite the same. I mean, I think it's still bad. I think the man is dividing all of us through any means necessary. Another current event, literally the day after I'm recording this, so y'all may never hear this. Some religious group says God's coming back, or the rapture's happening, or some end of earth event is supposed to happen the day after I'm recording this. So this may all be for just me. I do think it's fun though to like over the years these sort of end of the world cults or religions or whatever. I mean, it's just always about to happen. And I don't know how true this is, like in the religious sense, but when I was a kid going to church, I was always like under the impression there was some weird rule that you couldn't predict it. Like that was part of it. So like anytime someone did predict it, my elder church people would be like, I can't be because you're not supposed to be able to predict it. And I'm like, well, then what if you predict it every day? Like that was my little kid brain. Like we could just put it off forever. So yeah, I don't know. It's just fun to watch these people be like, no, actually I have the secret thing. And then it makes way to like conspiracy TikTok where it's like, yes, this is actually the 7,000 year cycle. We're about to go into the age of Aquarius and everything will change. We were in the age of Capricorn, which was the age of Jesus. Before that was the age of Sagittarius, which is Moses. So it's like we actually have a new spiritual leader, but they're putting so much value into these old stories and their conspiracies that it like, I don't know, gets twisted up into some fun stuff. I wish I knew more about it. I wish I could go deeper, but I can only go so deep. God only gave me so much. So yeah, anyway, the Jimmy Kimmel thing, also people are claiming on the left that like, see, this is part of Project 2025. I bet y'all feel stupid now. And now I've been on the lookout for the Project 2025 stuff for sure, because I said on this podcast back in the day that until it happens, it is kind of fear mongering by the left. Like they're like, no, these people are they claimed outlaw gay people and then shut down gay people's bank accounts and access to bank accounts and then take away women's rights to vote. Those are like the big things they were talking about that Project 2025 was doing. And I was like, if any of those happens, that's going to be wild. But until it gets even close, it is kind of like you're just saying shit. I think there has been whispers of the women's rights to vote thing. I don't know if they have any like leverage to actually pass any laws. That would seem difficult to do, but I have heard people say that. I have not heard the taking bank accounts from the gays yet. But the reason they're trying to point at Jimmy Kimmel thing as a Project 2025 is I guess the head of the FCC is one of the guys who wrote that thing. And so they're like, see, they're trying to shut down Jimmy Kimmel was. And it does seem like they're trying to shut down all late night shows. I mean, Trump hates them, and then this guy, George Carlin has this old bit explaining the FCC way better than I can. So y'all just look up George Carlin FCC. But somehow, like, it is just a random appointment, a guy that the president appoints, and then he has power over network television. But they're not voted for, and it's not even like a real law, or I don't know the full details, but it is odd when you start looking into, you're like, oh, the president actually has a little power here if they put the right guy here that wants to be an asshole. You know, all I know about the FCC is they wouldn't let they wouldn't let him be when he's doing something on MTV, and it felt so empty without me or whatever. You know, y'all know the song. God damn it. I wish I would have pulled it off flawlessly, but I'm not a stan. I'm just I'm a casual imp fan. Another thing I kind of touched to all this, and then I'll move on, is I do think it's funny how, like, for the week afterwards, there was argument over if, like, the shooter was left wing or right wing, and people cared a great deal. That's actually what the Kimmel joke was about. He was like, it's obviously one of them, which he was raised in a conservative household around guns. And I do think there is some argument to be like, well, if the environment he was in for 18 years was a conservative household, and then all he does is date a trans person, all of a sudden now he's liberal. It sounds like he was conservative. But then the other side, I'm like, you know how many liberals come into conservative households and vice versa? Like, that is not I don't know. But it is like, there's an interesting argument here to like, what do you count for? What you're raised around and as, or is it, I don't know. Also, I don't think it fucking matters if you're a crazy person that shot somebody, if he did it. But one of the things you saw was people go, we know the shooter was left wing because the bullets said stuff about being anti-fascist. And that's funny to me because it's like they're kind of admitting that the right wing has to be the fascist. You know, it's like, if one of the two are the fascists, it has to be the right wing. So therefore being anti-fascist means they're left wing. And, recently I think Trump said Antifa was a domestic terrorist group. I've always been under the impression Antifa is not like an actual group. It's more of like an idea amongst some liberals who want to play war in the streets of Seattle or whatever. You know, I'm not sure exactly the full detail, but that is the thing that's happening as well. And I just think that's crazy because, again, it's like the whole thing, it's anti-fascist. But then I remember, like, the Nazis were the National Socialists, something, but they weren't really socialists. I mean, they were in, like, since they took the production of means during wars and different things, I guess. But in general, they weren't what you would think of as traditionally as socialists. So they use that name to kind of throw people off the scent. So maybe there's some argument there. I don't know. I'm trying to say something. But, all right, the thing I've actually been the most interested in since the last time I recorded an episode with Skinny, and so much has happened, I was like, this is the exact moment when I got down. I'm kind of mad I'm a week behind or whatever for people who hear the episode. But the singer David totally killed this girl. I mean, that's where I'm at now. Last week we mentioned it, and Skinny and me was like, nah, but he didn't do it. Like, Skinny had some fucking insider knowledge about this shit. So I was just like, oh, he must see more than me, you know, like, so I kind of let him lead that, but I was like, kind of explained a little bit, but way more information's come out. So there's a singer, David. I really liked him. I'm not the only one. I might have mentioned this last week, but I'll do it again because I think it's fun. When I first discovered him, he had 4 million monthly listeners, but I thought like I discovered this new guy. And then I was like, 4 million. But then I checked like a month later and he had like 40 million. And I was like, oh shit, he's blown up. So anyway, he done a song for Invincible. He done a song for Fortnite recently. He's like a black emo guy. I don't know how else to describe the music. But it's very cool. But they found a dead body in his Tesla that got towed from his house, and it was of this young girl named Celeste. And then some of the confusion that's come around all this is he has been hanging out with 2 girls named Celeste. One was this young girl, Celeste, that is dead. And then there's another. So it's a 15-year-old Celeste. And then there's a 22-year-old Celeste. I believe that's the age of the other one. And so he's been hanging out with 2 girls named Celeste that are like, I don't know if they're in a polyamory thing, but that's like the vibes people are throwing out there from the videos. So it's like, because he's waiting on this younger one to come to age. And so he's with the older one. They look very similar. I want to say one's named Celeste Hernandez, one's Celeste Herrera. So they even have similar names. He has matching tattoos, I think, with both of them. And so, yeah, it's just some weird art world shit, and the word is this girl ran away from home. Some people say her parents sold her to him, and she had been with him for all this time. And a lot of his lyrics in his songs, now that you're listening through the lens, are like, oh my God, he was confessing in every fucking song he made from forever, and then he has like this alter ego he wanted to make an anime about, where he wears like this blindfold, but he's covered in blood. And that's what this whole time he's been like, no, it all references this guy and this alter ego. But I mean, it even seems like he premeditated the killing of this girl and like some of the things he said in previous songs. But again, maybe we're just, the people are good at adding that to a narrative after the fact. But yeah, it seems pretty obvious, again, out from the TikTok detectives. Now, I'm sure people look into this. If he does do it, I'm sure there's going to be a fucking amazing movie or documentary made about this, because it's like at first everyone's like, no, there's this girl Celeste he hangs out with, and this girl's dad's named Celeste. They're like, no, it's just a coincidence. And then you're like, oh yeah, there is the other Celeste. Okay, I see it. And they're like, no, he had 2 Celeste he hung out with, and like, here's video evidence of that. And so it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. I mean, it's crazy. It's not even a bigger story because the guy has so many fans, and I think what's crazy also is everyone keeps listening more to the music because they're like trying to decipher the murder. So this could be an elaborate thing. Of course, if he murdered someone, it can be, that has to seem pretty real. It can't be I'm trying to think of a work. I don't think this is necessarily a work, but he got a note handed to him at his last show, which people are like, that's the note if he's getting arrested when he leaves. So he did the whole like, well, I'm going to play myself out like the old Mexican band that got the note they're getting killed afterwards. And he's saying his heart out, is like the best thing he's ever done or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I think this is it. I think this is the finale of the movie when they make it. I'm not giving him any sympathy, for killing somebody. That's totally wrong. He should totally get whatever punishment, probably life or death penalty, if I had to guess. But it is like a wild story. It's like I don't know the time frame here, because he's been videoed with the girl somewhat recently, before she was killed. And people are acting like these songs that came out years ago were referencing her death, which I'm like, well, that can't quite, unless again, he was like predicting it. He like had a plan eventually or something. But yeah, anyway, look into it if y'all haven't. I've gotten some feedback of people being like, you should talk more about topics, but really my podcast is like, here's a little bit of shit I've been hearing about, I ain't trying to go, maybe someday I'll do some side episodes that go deeper if that's a thing. But again, I can only go so deep, just average guy. So anyway, I got way down that rabbit hole, David rabbit hole. Check it out. All right, let's play some music. All right, I'm hoping this is the last week I have to play some old Sir Nasty. That's what we're gonna do, because they just showed the artwork for the new album coming out here in October. It might already be October when you are hearing this episode. I'm pretty shitty with dates and how time travel works. But I know they have stuff coming out, so I'm sure they'll send us the new stuff soon. But we had to get this one. I honestly thought I've already played this song, but I looked into all the notes of the previous episodes and I didn't see it. But I've listened to this a lot on Spotify, so I was like, I'm so surprised I haven't played this. But anyway, the name of this one is Am I Losing My Mind by Sir Nasty. The beat by me, A the Mo makes beats. And let's see here. Get this pulled up and let's give it a listen.
It's a crazy world we live in. It's like, ain't no more individuals. Everybody doing what they told. Shit. I don't know. Am I losing my mind? I ain't hard to find. Walk through the graveyard and step on a landmine. I told that bitch she fine, but I ain't trying to fuck you. And you ain't one of mine if you ain't tapping in, fuck you. Nigga, what's poppin'? We can get it poppin'. Jason Gang killing everything, we ain't stopping. My young bitch a baddie. I fuck, she call me daddy. She call her friends up and say, girl, I got a zaddy. OG text me, I'm sending you the addy. Turn the nigga beef into a hamburger patty. Niggas better duck like Trump at the rally. I am Jamaican with Snoop is the Cali. I'm a living nightmare. Niggas better wake up. You know if I break up with a bitch, we don't make up. Somebody tell Khalees I will tell her milk shake up. Jason Voorhees, I'm throwing Count Crystal Lake up. Gang.
I think I'm losing my mind. This world gone crazy, yeah, they losing their mind. I say fuck the world and stay relevant. This whole world is artificial intelligence. I think I'm losing my mind. This world gone crazy, yeah, they losing their mind. I say fuck the world and stay relevant. This whole world is artificial intelligence.
So tell me what I'm seeing. Are we really robots or fucking human beings? Shit. Lil Nasty tried to warn you about them demons. I created something beautiful with my semen. Nasty. My wife told me not to shoot it. She know I wanna do it. It's a wicked world, here they come with the lies. My girl told me I got wandering eyes. I got a cold exterior. Niggas know when it comes to me, they inferior. Pull up on these rappers with some shit from Siberia. Coffin carrier, motherfucker, eye barrier. Come on. I see all these kids going through their gay phase. I don't get it, I don't judge, I just stay blazed. Peanut butter bottom on the gray J's. Bitch, you know it's James if I say J's.
I think I'm losing my mind. This world gone crazy, yeah, they losing their mind. I say fuck the world and stay relevant. This whole world is artificial intelligence. I think I'm losing my mind. This world gone crazy, yeah, they losing their mind. I say fuck the world and stay relevant. This whole world is artificial intelligence.
Sir Nasty with Am I Losing My Mind off of I Got Problems. I think was the name of that last album. Yeah, I believe it was correct there. The new one, let me see if I can pull this up just to Graveyard. You know, I'll do a little research for Graveyard since they're the homies. Some of the other ones are homies too, but they're like more the homies, you know, because they put in work on the numbers. Hey, look, I'm sharing my shit. I don't know. Somewhere they shared this thing today. All right. They shared too much stuff. All right. By next week, I should have the name of the fucking album. I'll look it up. Had cool artwork. I don't think I made it. But I do think all my homies that do the AI images, I gave them all their first step in the right direction. And then I quit fucking with it. The only thing I use the AI is the AI clipper for the TikTok and YouTube shorts. And, they're getting worse and worse. And honestly, I forget to post them. What really happened was I used to sit and schedule them all out for the whole week. And then TikTok scheduling thing, just when I would do it, it would act like it worked. And then they would never post. And they would refresh and they just weren't there. So now I have to like actually manually do it. And I just forget. That's basically as simple as it is. But, you know, I'm still trying to post something out there. I try to post one a day if I remember. And, you know, maybe someone sees it and they listen to this podcast and most will hate it. But 10% of those will be like, hey, I like this fat guy. He's all right. All right. Next thing I want to go with this little segment. We're doing all video games. I've been just desiring getting into video games more and more. I mean, I'm really into video games. So if like you are new, like don't act like I don't do that shit. But I've been just like, I want to get really addicted to a video game. Now, within a week of me recording this, a week actually from tomorrow, from when the world's ending, my all-time favorite game is being remastered and put out, and I'm Final Fantasy Tactics. And so I will get that, and I'm going to try to become obsessed with it. But I understand, like, there's sometimes what happens is you get so amped and so excited and hyped for a game that it can like disappoint you even if it's great, you know, because you're just like you want it so much. But I think I'll still like it. You know, my real issue is and this happens sometimes, like games of the previous generations, a lot of times are really are harder than current games. And like we get soft from some current games and you go back and you're like, God damn. All right, we got to really grind here, whatever. And I'll do it. But, sometimes that leads to like, maybe this game wasn't as cool. But I'm just, now I'm kind of going, I'm trying to undersell it to myself so that I'm not too excited, so that it's all just mind games with myself. This is what happens when you talk to yourself too much. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. PlayStation Plus Extra, which is the medium tier of the PlayStation Plus shit. I think I have the premium, but I never use it. It costs the same amount of money when they gave me the option to upgrade. So I was like, I guess so. But yeah, the extra tier, they added some games this month, and a couple of those, or one of those that I have tried is WWE 2K25. And I'm going to mention this because I know I have some listeners who watch wrestling. I've tried, I just can't do it modern day because I don't like it. But the video game I want to give a shot to, because I did like the year before's one game mode, my GM mode. So that's basically almost all I've done on this new one, 2K25, WWE 2K25. And it's almost the exact same game. They've added a couple differences. They've added like a little difference how the paper, or I don't know, PLEs, what the fuck that stands for. I want to call them pay-per-views, but I know they stand for something else now. They change how those work a little bit, but the game is basically you draft your superstars. You have like a draft, you and 3 other managers, and you draft your team, and then week to week you're setting up matches between the people that you drafted. And then you can buy more people off the like free agency wires and shit to add once you have money. And yeah, it's like making money and you set your shows. Now, I'm sure a lot of people, when they play it, they like play some matches. They actually like participate in the wrestling part, but I don't really like playing the game. So I really just like the management part. It's, a big person versus a little person, a good guy versus a bad guy, all that sort of stuff factors into it. And you got, different champions and different tag team people. And then if someone loses too many times in a row, they'll get all pissy and they'll demand they win the next one and shit. So that's what I'm saying. Most people probably get in there and like make sure that sort of stuff doesn't happen or helps the match be a better match. But when I play, I don't know how to make the match a better match. I have played a little bit of the little create a player island shit, and I was like, I don't like this. And I won the first. Eventually, they make you do one where you like have to throw people out of the ring, and I just couldn't figure out the buttons for that. And then I refused the tutorial, so that's really my own fault. But instead of even caring, I just keep playing the My GM mode. I was winning so easily, and then out of nowhere, one person passed me in fans, another person passed me in trophies. Now I'm like, God damn it, I might not win. But yeah, I got like The Rock and Bubba Ray Dudley. They've been staples for a while in my little organization. A couple of mortal, they'd be a mortal rank people, but there's different ranks of wrestlers and shit. And then they each cost money. And yeah, anyway, I really like the My GM mode. I think it's very fun from like a weird management tycoon type gameplay. I honestly wish they would just make a game that was just that mode and then more fleshed out, like more options, more crazy shit could happen, cut scenes, really flesh it out. I would buy that. But I understand I would be way in the minority. I'm sure it's like their least played game mode of everything in the package, if I had to guess. All right, next on my list that I played on the PlayStation 5 as well, and that is Skate. The early access came out. Now, I love Skate 1, 2, and 3. I know a lot of people are like, this one's not good, this one, but I played the fuck out of all of them back on the 360. And I think Skate 1 was on a 360. I don't know. If you tell me it's on the normal Xbox, I believe you. But yeah, I really love those games back in the day. I was never very good at Tony Hawk. At least 1 through 4. I was a little better at Underground and Underground 2, but I just wasn't that good at Tony Hawk. And so when Skate came out, I was like, fine, I'm just gonna get good at this. And so I was way better than most people I knew in real life. I'm not saying I'm that good. I've seen people online that are amazing. But like a lot of people would play and they're like, how the fuck do you even do this? Because it was that era of like everything was the right analog. Like all of a sudden golf games, you swung that way. They're like baseball games, you swung a bat. There was just like, it kind of took over for a minute. So yeah, anyway, I really liked Skate back in the day. So I played this new one. I don't I don't like the look of it. I think the sort of Fortnite-ification of all free-to-play games where it's like all kind of looks like a half Pixar movie. It's all goofy and shit. If you're going to stylize it, do something cool. Don't do like weird, goofy kids movie style. And then, so I didn't like the vibes there. And then I don't really think the challenges are all that fun. And I had my cousin Cam, saw him yesterday actually, and he seems to like it. He's like, the challenges are just like the old games. Now it's been a while since I played the old games, so he could be right, but they don't feel as fun. It's very much like these things are highlighted, do this, this, and this, and you check the. It's the same reason I used to play Fortnite, and I kind of got out of it because like every day was like, here's your weekly thing, check marks, do these things, and I was like, I don't know, it doesn't grip me for some reason. And I get this game was a free-to-play game. I pay no money for it. The whole idea is they just want people to get online and play with their friends and have sessions, and then they spend some real-life money to get some currency to buy the T-shirt for their character they like, and that stuff's never going to appeal to me. I've never gotten addicted to any MMO or any sort of multiplayer online thing. Has never really gripped me like that. Destiny 1 I really liked, but I wouldn't have ever spent real money outside of buying the game. I'm sure there's a handful of other games, but I can't think of any. It's just not my type of thing. So anyway, I'm glad I got to try Skate. I even played it even after I was like, I don't think I'm gonna play anymore. I did play. I went back and played it some because I keep seeing videos of people doing cool shit on there, like fucking doing skate tricks on skyscrapers and shit. And you're like, this is fucking crazy. But then you see people doing some goofy shit. I'm like, oh, this isn't really not what I thought it'd be, but I don't need it. I have too many games to play as it is. Especially, like I said, when the Final Fantasy Tactics comes out, I'll be good. Now, I have a couple others downloaded, like Persona 5 Tactica was also a free monthly game, or in the PlayStation Plus Extra catalog, and I've really been, it's a tactics game mixed with Persona, and I really like Persona 5, and so someday I will get to that, but it's just a horrible timing to get put out like 2 weeks before Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, I'm not going to ruin, I'm savoring it. I'm joking for the tactics game. I'm really saving up for it, if you will. So I'm going to hold off on that. But something that happened, I was going to talk about last week, and then we got distracted. So I was like, we'll save this. And I'll probably have a video here that's going to be showing all the games I have currently on this PS2. So I bought a PlayStation 2, and then I bought a few games on disc, and that's fine. Very cool. I got Monster Rancher 4, which is, let me talk about that first. Monster Rancher 4. One of my all-time favorite games. I had such great memories of playing it in college. It's such a kind of a cute, dumb game, you think, for college kids, but it was really fun. The whole premise, the thing that's fun, is you take your CDs or DVDs or games, and you go to this thing in the game. You're like, I'm at the shrine, and I need to put in a sorcerer's stone to get a monster to take home a train. And then you put it, like, opens up your disk drive, take out the game, you put in a DVD, CD, or game, put it back in, it reads the disc, and then you swap them back out, and then it's like, all right, we scan the disc, here's the monster you get. And then it gives you certain monsters depending on what movie and shit you put in there. And so that was the fun part when I was younger. And I would just sit there for hours going through all the discs. As an adult, I just take whatever the fuck any disc gives me, like, yeah, I'll train that. That's fine. So I'd lost some of that magic, but the game is still fun. It's also pretty expensive. So I found a good deal on one. And so I was like, well, maybe I could sell it if I, get over it or something. But I've had a lot of fun playing it, actually. So I've been playing that a little bit. Like I said, you take monsters home to your ranch, you train them, and they battle, go on adventures. When the battle, the more tournaments you go, you unlock ranks that unlock other stuff. And then you get, the thing that's fun about 4 that's new in the series is it's not just one monster at a time. You eventually get up to 5 at a time on your ranch. And then you also get like equipment that you have to decide how you're rearranging, or like you get training equipment in a gym. So it's like your yard's a giant gym, and you have to decide where the fucking machines go to train your stuff. And then you got to schedule your monsters, but they can't each use the same machine. So it's like, that plays into it. You got to feed them and shit. So it's like Tamagotchi on steroids, if you will. Love Monster Rancher 4. Glad I own it. But then that's really the only game on disc I have to have on disc. All the rest I could not, because, again, that one I need because of the disc functionality of it all. But I put a hard drive in the PlayStation 2, and I put a bunch of games on it. And I went, for people who know how to do this, you got to get this thing. I'm sure there's other ways. This way I did it, the easiest way. You go online and you buy a free McBoot memory card and a PS2 memory card. So it's a PS2 memory card. It has this program called Free McBoot. You put that in the second memory card slot. You can also put in the first one, but not put in the second one. And then that allows you to access the hard drive and other parts of the PS2. And then it'll have this like menu instead of like the PS2 normally has like a browser and a system settings. And that's like the two options. Now you're going to have like 10 fucking options. And some of them you shouldn't click, so it'll fuck up your shit. So, but there's one thing you do called OPL. It's like the Open PlayStation Loader, I think is what it stands for, or something like that. And so anyway, yeah, you do some finagling, you move some files around, you get it all set up, ready to go. And then you open this OPL thing, and then it'll just list all the games you have on your hard drive in your PlayStation 2. And I had to buy, a couple adapters, a couple random shit. I had a guy 3D print me a holder and, different stuff. I really put in some work here. And I have about 200 and something games on this PlayStation 2. And I just get, it's like Netflix. I get decision paralysis. I just scroll through all the games and I'm like, there's so many options. What the fuck could I even want to play? And so, and then honestly, a lot of my favorite PS2 games have been remade or put out on the PS4, and I've already bought there and like recently, gotten trophies on them. And so I'm like, well, I've actually kind of played that recently. So like Dark Cloud's probably my favorite PS2 game. And I'm glad I have it, and stuff like that. But it is kind of like, oh, well, I've just played that. So anyway, I like having all these games. There's a lot that I've never even thought about playing. Like I never gave a shit about Devil May Cry, but people love them. So I put all those on there. And really, this is mine in case China or whoever, our own government, hits us with the EPM that knocks out all the internet. I just want to have this thing to where I'm like, I can catch up on the backlog, and play it. Now, the games I've really been enjoying, trying to remember, I mentioned Monster, but the other one is this game, MLB Power Pros. I've been playing Power Pros 2008. It's actually this Japanese game. I can't remember the name of it in Japan, obviously, because I don't speak Japanese. But there's this baseball game they put out like every year in Japan, and then a couple years they poured it to America and put like Major League Baseball teams in it to try to like find that thing. And I used to have this game back then. Maybe there was an original one, not the 2008 version. But so when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, all the memories. And the awesome thing, or I think the different thing about it, like it looks like backyard baseball, kind of like the gameplay style, like when you're actually in the baseball game. But in between the games, it's kind of like a Persona game. Like you're a little Japanese comic book character looking guy, and all your teammates are characters, and you can go to town and go to the bridge and talk to so-and-so, and it like uses up a point of what you can do that day and all this. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I think it was like way ahead of its time, or at least stuff they're doing in Japan they weren't doing here. And so like, it's really interesting. And then I remember, because it was really hard to go from AA to AAA. And I was like, I remember being hard back then too. And I had to look up a guide. So I looked it up, and it's like, you have to get a great performance in every single AA game or you will not get promoted. And I was like, I do remember this. I remember like saving and quitting just constantly back then just to try to get there. And they're like, do none of the actual special things with your teammates. You need to train every free time you can. And so I may give it another go, but I spent a good day doing a season and then not getting promoted, and was like, fuck, that sucked. But yeah, that game was fun. And then a big problem with the PS2 at the moment is I don't have a CRT television. Now I want one. I could get one right now that's like not a great one, but I want one that's decent, that has like component cable connectors, at the very least RCA cable connectors. The one I know of to get right now only has a coax cable, and I'm not, it's not the vibes I'm trying to go with at the moment. But a lot of games are too dark. And so what happens is I have this adapter that plugs in the PlayStation and converts it to an HDMI. But the PS2 outputs everything in analog. So anything it's outputting is going to be getting converted from analog to digital. And then a lot of times what happens is the blacks and the dark colors get squashed together. And then the games are just kind of really dark and hard to read. So I've been playing on this projector on this wall behind me. And, if it's dark enough in the room and the projector is really bright, it can work, but that's not really the issue. It's just everything within the dark values are squashed together as the same color. So certain games like Def Jam Fight for New York, which I tried to play earlier today, it was basically unplayable. I'm sure I have some things here y'all can see it, but I could barely even tell what anything was. Everything was just so dark. And so I am probably gonna have to be on a good lookout for a good CRT. And what's annoying about that is like you can't just order one and have it sent to you. Those motherfuckers weigh 1,000 pounds, so you have to like get one in the wild and then secure it and bring it, somewhere. So, anyway, that's my next hunt. There is another. You can get this. Can't remember what it's like a Retroid 5X something, where you plug stuff in that are old school like that, and it's like a little box that's doing a lot of conversions and stuff in it, and then it's outputting it to look good. But like that thing is as much as the PS2. So I'm like, well, I don't know about all that shit. So I've just been playing bright, colorful games for now, and it works. But yeah, you start getting into more dark games, it is kind of difficult. So a warning out there if you're trying to get into the PS2 retro space. You might want you a good CRT, or just know that it could be. And some people have said like, well, if that's the case, you just need a better, like maybe the adapter I have, just whatever that brand isn't as good, and I should just buy a different brand. You just keep buying them until you find one that's good. And maybe that will happen eventually. But I've spent so much money on PS2 accessories this month and the console and everything that I'm like, listen, I gotta slow down a little bit. Let's wait until that fascination hits me. And really, it's just chasing nostalgia. This happens every however many years where I get really into emulators or old games and I want to play them. And then the bug goes away and then it's fun. I just have never gotten out with the PS2 era. It's always normally for the earlier eras. So it was a fun couple weeks to mess around with and play, a little bit of different games here and there. Like I played the old Madden a little bit the other day, and it was hard. The career mode. You start off really shitty, like way shittier I think you do in current modes or current games. But the game did seem better than the new ones. I mean, I don't play many of the new ones, but there is some about it that the engine just felt better, felt right. All right. Anyway, that's my video game. So let's play another song. And then we come back, we'll do another segment and wrap this shit up. We got to keep it short. I was getting up to an hour and a half every fucking week. And I think I claimed originally we were doing like hour-ish, so anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, next song we're going with is from the homie, it's your boy H2, from Flatliner Music. This one here is off of his album Outfields. The name of the song is Lend Me Your Ears. This is, I would say, one of the ones I like more from H2. I don't know exactly where it'd be on the charts if I'd like chart all H2 songs that I've heard, but it's up there. I like this one. It sticks in your mind a little bit, or it's an earworm, if you will. So anyway, let's pull this up here. It's your boy H2. Name of the song, Lend Me Your Ears. Let's give it a listen.
Makes beats. Yeah, I'm on another level, a step above. Throw me your heart and I'll just step on your love. So lend me your ears, I'm finally here. And now it's so clear that you ain't ready for us. Yeah, I'm on another level, a step above. Throw me your heart and I'll just step on your love. So lend me your ears, I'm finally here. And now it's so clear that you ain't ready for us. I'm descending from my bunk bed to kick you off in your dumb head till it's numbing. Blood red, nah man, fuck that plum red. Shorty, don't be scared, come here my little kumquat. Come squat on Papa's cot, fuck me till you come drop. On top until you blood clot and your eyes roll back. Cause if I hold back the hatred I have like I'm scared, then it's just hot air. And I should just deflate my sack. Take this pen and go pop it, get it go pop it. I'm such a topic that I can't soften. I go hard, feel it in my heart, I'm at the top. So how do I top it? I could jump up, stock a bunch of shit for me to jump on top of. Time go by and y'all turn to fossils. High school myrtles turn to models, while Miss America turns to bottle. Little lessons ain't hard to cram into this tropical obstacle. Got you bitches amazed at how fucking hot I am. Yeah, I'm on another level, a step above. Throw me your heart and I'll just step on your love. So lend me your ears, I'm finally here. And now it's so clear that you ain't ready for us. Yeah, I'm on another level, a step above. Throw me your heart and I'll just step on your love. So lend lend me your ears. I'm finally here, and now it's so clear that you ain't ready for us. Yeah, I'm on another level, a step above. Throw me your heart and I'll just step on your love. So lend me your ears. I'm finally here, and now it's so clear that you ain't ready for us. That's right, I'm storming the building, hitting everything, men, women, children, civilians. Better find a pavilion. I'm on a roll like popping the pill, and flows out of control, can't distill it. Fuck window shopping, I just steal it by myself. Call me a triple threat, hold the bank up for $1 trillion. I ain't shy, no mask or gloves. We pass first dates, yeah, I'm down to fuck. Can't wait till you get a load of us. Her holding this bitch and sew it up. They think I'm drunk, well if I am, I got no plans to sober up. I'm taking charge, storming this bitch against the wall to the whole crowd going nuts. It's obvious, can't stop coming off my lip with all this pompousness. It's an art, I'm just so drawn to this. I win, I never draw in this shit. I'm a dick, I show my balls to all of y'all and still play hard to get. Dropping shit for the competition to pick up. You should've quit and just bought a pet. I ought to get lots of compliments when I hit the streets. I rock cement, I shine so bright it's hard to tint, but that's our intent until an A&R present something to knock my rent or had me waving by to your ass. A nice contract won't figure up in your face, cause I just make contact. Hey.
The Mo makes beats.
It's your boy H2 with Lend Me Your Ears. Yeah, I just like the hook on that. I think the hook's pretty nice. You need a little more of that. I mean, don't necessarily aim for that, but you know, I like when that happens. That's cool. Now, verse is very perverted. Not that I'm against it, but it's all like sweet on the hook, and then he's like, "Come here, girl," and he goes in. You know, it reminds me of remember those fake porn pictures? Can't put a picture of this up, obviously. We were kids, and it was like deep fakes before deep fakes, but there was ones of like Eminem fucking Christina Aguilera, but it was clearly not him. It was like Eminem's head plastered on someone, and then like a fake porn star that was good. Yeah, those are the vibes H2's verses give. So anyway, hope everyone had a flashback there to early puberty. It was kind of gay in hindsight. You know, it's like people were so into Eminem, they wanted to see him. It was like the Flintstone porn, you know, it was like a real live version of that. Where people were like, well, Wilma is kind of fun. Betty, even hotter. Of course, had it with all the cartoons, you know. Well, I'm naming a cartoon they didn't do it with, you know. That I think there's even a term for it now, Rule 34. Anything there can be porn for, there will be porn for. I believe more or less that's Rule 34, something like that. I'm not quite up to gooning levels of some, but I try to research it out there. Staying sick. I just need to know what the kids are talking about, you know. Like once they came up with the term FAP, I was like, what the fuck? And I think it was like an English thing. So then you're like, okay, but why are we using that? I don't know. Just fucking jack off like a normal person, kids. Kids of appropriate ages, of course. Let's see. What else do I need to end here before we scroll up on my list here? Speaking of kids and dumb shit, kids don't have bank accounts. My wife's been telling me this for years. Said, hung out with my cousin the other day. I mean, he might have a bank account, but everything's Cash App. And then I'm like, I don't got Cash App, I got PayPal. And he's like, does that have to take a bank account? I'm like, yep. But again, this is just like me reminiscing of when I was 16. I remember when I got accepted to college. I got accepted a couple or whatever, had options. But I decided to come to college in this town I live in now. And I got to come in like the April before, like when I was still a senior, to enroll in classes because I qualified for honors, but I didn't want to do honors. And then I made the honors teachers mad because I told them the program sounded fucking stupid. Because I was fucking cool. All right? I was just too cool for that shit. But I did get to enroll early because I technically qualified for it. So anyway, I'm here this weekend, or maybe it was the middle of a school week. I don't remember when the fuck it was. But anyway, we go up there. I remember I got a job that day. I got offered a job. They're like, when you get here, you'll have a job. And I was like, hell yeah. And then on the way out of town, we stopped at a bank, and me and my mom opened up a bank account for me. And then so I won a few scholarships, not a lot, but a little bit at the end of when I graduated. So I put all that money in that bank account. And, I put all this money in the bank account. I had a check. It was a checking account. And so I had checks, but I barely have used checks. Even until now, it's like, probably use like 25 checks in my whole life. Maybe that. That's honestly stretching, and I just don't want to, undersell it too much. But so anyway, I got a bank account then, and that was fucking awesome. Not a debit card. I could like fucking use a debit card places, and it was like a big fucking deal. And yeah, these kids are just like, nah, I just got Cash App, or I just got, there's like a few of them, Venmo and shit like that. Now, again, I remember when I got PayPal, because it was a big deal. I had to get a fucking bank account. You had to give me a routing number and account number, and then they had to put in money, and then you had to come back in and be like, you put this much money in PayPal, and they're like, you're good. It was like a whole verification process. Now I've had that forever, like we're going like 20 years or some shit on that one. But yeah, anyway, these kids don't do bank accounts, don't drive, don't do bank accounts. They say they have sex less, they do drugs less, they drink less. They have a serious streak, and I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I think it's good, honestly. It's probably, I feel like maybe people of my generation and before, we were doing so much drug, sex, and rock and roll because we had trauma. We had issues. We had things underneath we didn't know how to fix. We didn't have anyone to talk to about it. And so it's just easier to do substances and have a good time. And then sometimes what's even annoying is sometimes you just do it and it isn't deeper, but then people want to make it deeper. And then you're like, fuck you, you square, then then you become one of those guys. And I don't know. Who knows? Just thinking out loud here. Here's a random thought for my music artist listeners out there. If we got any still, if you are still hanging on. People are talking about pulling all their music off Spotify. This happens every year. Spotify does some new bullshit, and people are like, no, it's time we pull our music from Spotify. And then every year I talk about it when I have a podcast, and my thoughts are basically the same. Like, I think the new thing is that Spotify can do anything with your music without telling you and without paying you or whatever. I don't know. There were some people are basically claiming like they just own your music if you put it there, which seems like that couldn't win in court, but who knows? We'll see. But I guess I just don't want to pull my music because almost all the money I make comes from my Spotify. It's like you go to like break down by service, almost all of it is from Spotify by like probably 85 to 90% of it. And now some people are like, yeah, because it was fucking bots. And it's like, maybe, but I don't pay for the bots. And I don't know who would pay for bots for me. Now, sometimes you get added to a playlist that happen? I'm guessing so, because I mean, I've gotten the warnings many a times. But anyway, I feel like it would be like, yeah, let's pull all of our music, and then no one listens to it. So maybe if right now you're not making any money anyway, then you're like, what's it matter? Now is honestly a good time for me to do it because I'm not putting out music and I have nothing immediate set to release or anything. I'm in like a real dead zone at the moment. So I could remove it all and re-upload it through, without checking that box for everything and backdate them all. And I mean, that could be a thing. But honestly, I have a problem with all the music services for the most part. There's none that I truly like. Like Apple Music is fucking annoying as shit because they refuse to separate A2thaMo and A2thaMo makes beats. They just keep putting underneath the same thing. And then that makes it where my friends who want to tag producer me or rapper me or whatever, they, it feels like it's tagging the other one. And, so that one's annoying. Tidal used to be cool, and maybe it still is, but at some point in time, I couldn't find me on there anymore. Like when I was searching, I was like, I'm submitting this shit every week. And so, I don't know. They all have their own issues. Amazon Music's always like, don't forget about me. You have Prime. You can use me. And I'm like, shut up, Amazon Music. So I think they pay less than all of any of the services. They pay the least per stream. And really, we just got fucked getting so little per stream. I know everyone says that, but again, I didn't make any money before streaming. Like people weren't paying money for my music before. It was free on DatPiff on a mixtape, and no one cared. And so, at least in the streaming world, I get compensated something. And I'm talking like I hope I don't come across like I make a lot. I do not make a lot of money on there, but I make some. Enough where it pays for itself. And every once in a while, I can get a new microphone or whatever whenever one breaks. So. It's living the dream. Also, I need some ideas out there. I need a new coffee brand. I have been for years drinking Javalvia Columbia blend coffee. Hopefully I have a picture here. And it just keeps going up and up. Now all the coffee's going up. Everything's going up. Everything's expensive. But this shit is really getting expensive for me. So if someone has like here's a cheap shit I like, let me know. Now I used to growing up, all my family it seemed like did Folgers or something similar to that. But I've never really had much of it as an adult, so maybe that is what I should try. But I like the Columbia blend stuff. It's fancier, and I put the sugar and the French vanilla creamer, and it's like, ooh, it's like eating a little candy bar, but drinking it for breakfast, and then it's how I start my day. So I wonder why I'm fat, So maybe I don't need new coffee. I mean, I should just quit all the coffee. But it is tasty. It's pretty tasty. Let's see. I'm still save the Jesus talk for another episode. But I had a fun Jesus talk with my basic premise is Jesus the ultimate gaslight. Is the original sin the ultimate gaslight? And I made this argument at work randomly, and then I had to dig in because that's how I am. And then saying that the week of Charlie Kirk's assassination, we were like, whoa. But sometimes that's comedy. You walk close to the line and you see what you can get away with. See who's all paying attention. All right, here's another thought. I've been thinking about my grandparents a lot this week. I think I talked about it last week with Skinny. They had a big episode on a vacation. My grandpa had to go to the hospital and they tested him. They had leukemia. Turns out he does have leukemia. Now there's two types of leukemia. I don't remember what they are, but he has the one that's worse out of the two, and it's aggressive, get you quick or whatever. So what's interesting to me is my other grandpa, one I call my grandpa, that died earlier this year, who lived in Colorado, his wife, so my step-grandmother, she has had leukemia since I was in high school. And she thought when she got it, she thought she was going to die very quickly. But she's had it all these years, still alive. She outlived him. And then my pawpaw, the one who's getting leukemia now, who is married to my grandmother. So he's technically my step-grandfather, but he was like married to my mom when my mom was, married to my grandma when my mom was a teenager. So, it doesn't feel step of anything to me. Like, it's just my pawpaw. So, anyway, Pawpaw's got this shit. I just think it's interesting that both the step ones both got leukemia. I don't know what the odds of that are, but it's interesting. And anyway, so he's been having to go do chemotherapy. I think it's 5 days in a row is the plan to like really attack it. And then if all's looking good, they'll send him home to do it at a more local hospital or center or something. But last I heard, it was going good. But that's scary. He's basically, I just don't want to have to. I mean, this is again, it's so selfish, but it's just how essentially your mind works as no only child, I guess. But like, I don't want to have to deal with all the emotions that are going to come with when my grandfather passes, because the one in Colorado was sad in this way of like he's like the only biological paternal person I know, like in my family, but we didn't spend a lot of time together, and so. In some ways, it was kind of easy. I mean, I felt guilty for not spending time and not really being there much, but I could like, well, he wasn't there for me either, But my papa, I mean, he was my male influence a lot, for a long time. And then my dad, who adopted me, but was a stepdad in kind of way, him as well. But so through the two of them, but I think a lot of my personality I get from my grandpa. He's kind of mean and good at arguments and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, I think I got some of that. And then a story that always sticks out to me, and I probably tell it too often to because I told it to my cousin the other day, but when I was in college, I was hanging out with a couple of my cousins when we were smoking weed or whatever we were doing, and we were talking about my grandpa, and I said something. They're like, well, you can say that because you're not scared of him. I was like, well, wait, y'all are scared of him? My grandpa had like a scary look. He had those like bifocals that went dark, like the tints that like, I don't know, something about it. And he didn't scare me, but he had a brother that looked just like you who scared the shit out of me. So I'm like, I do think I get it, but I was like, I spent the most time with him as a grandkid because I was the one that lived in town. And so I would argue with him, and he was like my Sunday school teacher when I was in junior high. And so we would talk a lot about religion and stuff like that. And so I had a lot of deep talks with my grandfather. And then I would say sometime during the Obama years, Fox News changed him a little. I mean, maybe that's how he always was, but you know, he got real into being one of those Fox News type people. And then it was like, I kind of had to argue every time I went over there because they were saying some crazy shit about how they're going to enact Sharia law in Chicago or some shit. And I'm like, it's not happening. You're falling for made up bullshit. And then he didn't like, you know, not many argue, and I would. And I think I ended up being right on that one, unless someone wants to support to the Sharia law that we got going on in America or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be really sad when it happens, and I'm gonna have to be like, God damn it. And then I don't think it was gonna ask me to speak or anything at anything, but if that happened, I'd be like, oh God, I don't know if I can do that. So anyway, it just sucks to think about. I hope he pulls through and he lives many more years. Hope he lives to be 100 years old. But my question or my thought, what I'm presenting to you out there, listener, is everyone's favorite grandmother their mom's mom? So this came up in my job where someone is a grandmother of mom's mom grandmother. And I was like, yeah, you're obviously going to be the favorite because you're the mom, your mom's mom. And I thought that was just like a universal thing. And then I started thinking about it. Now, I had a couple of my friend examples that, no, it was their dad's mom that was like one of my best friends growing up was that, but its mom's mom had schizophrenia and like sat on a porch talking about who you used to be in your past life and shit. So like, I understand where like the good memories were from his dad's mom, who was like, you know, the typical grandma and sweet and stuff. So, but I think in general, that's my vibe is your mom's mom somehow about it is like the more maternal one. I mean, cause it's your mom's obviously, but, I just think everyone is closer to theirs. Now, my dad who adopted me, his mom didn't like me. You know, it's weird when you're in a family where, you know, like I said, my dad and with my grandparents, where you're like some family members just don't treat you as family, and then other people, there is no difference. You can tell, like, oh, they think of me as like I'm really family or whatever, and you notice it from like a young age, like it really sticks out to you. And so, anyway, my dad's mom, at least early on, you know, I was definitely like a step. That's how she kind of thought of me. And then towards the end of me graduating high school, I think because I had like good grades and I was all right. I mean, I was getting a little bit of trouble, but compared to some of the other ones, you know, I was pretty good. She kind of came around, you know, and I would get like Christmas gifts and shit, you know, early on that was, you know, I didn't necessarily. And so, you know, I don't know, that would be why that would. And then I've met my biological father like twice in my life, when I was a teenager, once, and then once when I was 4. And, I've met his parents or his mom one more time than that. And, my mom said they're really good people, but I just don't know them like that. You know, I don't have any relationship, with any of that. So there was a chance at one time that could have happened, but I think it's past. Time's past. I'm ready to die at this moment. You know, I've made it way past the halfway mark, I would say. I've accomplished nothing and I have no legacy. I'm leaving except the music. So let's get to the music. I feel like that, you know, we're working on uplifting spirits here. The song I'm going with is off of my album Classy 2. It is the outro off of Classy 2. Classy 2 came out on my birthday of this year, earlier this year. Go listen to it if you missed it. I had 3 albums come out this year, and I've listened to them all fairly recently. I think they're all pretty good. You know, there's times I listen to my old music or newer music, and I'm like, I fucking suck. Why am I doing this? Another time I listen, I'm like, you know what? It is good, damn it. You do deserve your minimal plays and monies from Spotify. You know, this one hopefully is a good example because I don't remember from after me talking all this shit. But, you know, the name of the song we're going with is Forget It by A2thaMow. And so I think we're going to have Skinny on a music episode soon. If you've missed the music episodes, I think they're very fun. Basically like this, but a little different ratio of music to talking. And, you know, Skinny's always a good time, depending on what he's on. And, or depending on what he's on, it goes up or down, you know, or whatever. But in general, always fun time. So anyway, Forget It, A2thaMow. But don't forget, about this podcast every Wednesday, and then special episodes on Fridays for your weekend enjoyment. Oh yeah, I'm about to say peace. I am going to say peace, but I got to play the song too, and I'm so bad at this. So anyway, let's give it a listen.
Yeah, that's me. Only smoke weed, cause when I don't, I wanna kill myself. Sometimes I still want to, but being lazy helps. Life hacks with A2thaShow. Come for the advice, but you stay for the flows. Relative genius, depend on the room that I'm in. Got disappearing penis when I'm trying to eat shrooms again. What a shame. And I gotta say, Triple C's always had me feeling the same way. But that's life on drugs, it's my life on what? Anything that I want, but I don't deserve nothing. I'm hungry, I heard there's a bitch serving cut. You know I'm going for it, shit, I ain't tryna punt. I be tryna hop on the track like Olympic trials. I'm a one-on-one, don't think they can mimic my style. They welcome to try though, press record, expose my soul. They feeling needed like pizza pie dough. I don't know what I said, I just know that I said it. Random thoughts in my head, maybe they're connected. I don't know, always forget it, always forget it. I don't know what I said, I just know that I said it. Random thoughts in my head, maybe they're connected. I don't know, always forget it, always forget it. Stretch a dollar, that's Kevin Durant money. Weed in my pocket got me trying to stand funny. What do y'all want? I'm trying to go dummy. You pussies on the track always sounding so yummy. I'm a fat bastard like get in my tummy. Shout out to DSR, I've been bumping since a youngin', can't take nothing from me. My stomach filled with Robitussin, but my phone keep trying to interrupt me. Trying to fight the distraction, trying to ride the passion. Someone hide the matches before I burn my life to ashes. Daily task, trying to talk myself through it. No confidence and most days feel stupid. They say turn to God, cause won't he do it? But I need a better fantasy if I get to choose it. No offense, man, I know how y'all tell it. I wish I still believe, sometimes I feel jealous. I don't know what I said, I just know that I said it. Random thoughts in my head, maybe they're connected. I don't know, always forget it, always forget it. I don't know what I said, I just know that I said it. Random thoughts in my head, maybe they're connected. I don't know, always forget it, always forget it.